good to have you join me on yet another episode of the program Service to Humanity, a program designed to update you on the activities of the Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development. My name is Hafsat Mustafa Hadija, your anchor this evening. Our review of major events in the year 2021 will not be complete without the testimonies of women who have benefited from the Conditional Cash Transfer initiative to make their lives and that of their families better. Indeed, in the year 2021, we interacted with some of them in the FCT, Kaduna, Ogun and Nasarawa, and on this episode, we have a compilation of their stories. It is a testimony to the effect that little drops can make an ocean. Join me after the break for a full package. Do stay tuned.
The program is key to helping young Nigerians acquire and develop.
The federal government of Nigeria remains committed to including and protecting persons with disabilities to guarantee that no one is left behind.
I see that we are going through challenging times, and I see this woman running all about the country trying to help our people, because this lady is doing a very good job for our country.
Thank you.
Thank you for all what you have been doing for us.
The program starts with the Management Diary, where we bring you news on current happenings around the minister, the ministry, and her agencies. In our lineup, Ministry launches strategic roadmap even as it seeks commitment to the humanitarian response plan for the Northeast. Don't go away.
The Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, in a milestone event, has launched its 5-year strategic roadmap designed to help it achieve its mandate of managing disasters, implementing social development, and developing as well as providing durable solutions to humanitarian issues in the country. The roadmap, built on 7 strategic pillars, was unveiled as the guiding document for how the ministry will go about the theme of mapping out a life of dignity for all Nigerians. Special guest of honor at the launch, Vice President Yemi Oshibanjo, was represented by the Deputy Chief of Staff to the President, Mr. Diola Ibrahim Rahman, expressed delight at the launch, which he describes as a milestone in the life of a strategic ministry in the Buhari administration.
In the Northeast, the process of resettling displaced persons and refugees in their communities has already started. This represents the first step in the process of turning the tide of events in that region in the direction of peace and recovery. There is, of course, much work that remains to be done. This is why the strategic roadmap that has been formulated by the ministry is so important.
The Vice President, while speaking of federal government's efforts in tackling economic and security challenges, acknowledged the need for humanitarian interventions to support government initiatives. He spoke on the advantages the roadmap will have in helping government actualize its plans and policies for the vulnerable.
Like all plans and programs, we recognize that the roadmap itself will be effective only to the degree of its implementation. Therefore, the federal government stands ready to support the actualization of this roadmap every step of the way.
Chief host of the event and Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Sadia Umar Farouk, in her address, explained that the roadmap was developed in collaboration with agencies implementing its mandates and introduces mechanisms that will be deployed to ensure results delivery.
The roadmap we are launching today is the end product of the cohesive analysis of the valuable insights, feedback, and inputs received from the ministry's departments and agencies. This strategic roadmap is aptly themed, mapping out a life of dignity for all. In line with the ministry's onerous task of effectively discharging our responsibilities that are pivotal to the economy of the nation and the well-being of the citizenry.
The minister said the full implementation of the roadmap will not only consolidate the priority areas of the federal government, it will also improve lives of the vulnerable and restore dignity. She assured Nigerians that the ministry remains committed to actualizing the objectives of the roadmap.
The most critical aspect of the strategic roadmap is in the implementation. And Your Excellency, at this point, I would like to assure you and everyone gathered here today of the Ministry's firm resolve and commitment to providing all the necessary support and resources required to execute the strategies and actualize its founding vision. We must not allow this strategic roadmap to fail, and I call on everyone, our directors in the ministry, the staff, the heads of agencies, our partners, to join hands with us to ensure the success of this roadmap.
While welcoming guests to the event, Permanent Secretary of the Ministry, Bashir Noura Al-Ghani, shed more light on what the roadmap entails.
This 5-year plan, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, which actually commences in 2021, will serve as a compass to guide the activities of the ministry, its various departments, programs, and all the agencies under its supervisory mandate. The strategies outlined in the roadmap have been categorized into 7 thematic core areas that are aimed at mapping out a life of dignity for all Nigerians.
Ministers, heads of agencies, foreign partners, in their various goodwill messages, congratulated the ministry for the detailed work put into planning the roadmap while pledging their support towards its actualization. The Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development has restated the commitment of the federal government to end the insurgency in the Northeast, restore peace, and create pathways to recovery and development. She stated this during the launch of the Nigerian Humanitarian Response Plan 2022 for Northeast. She said the plan, which will need an estimated $1.1 billion to be fully implemented, prioritizes the need of over 2.2 million persons displaced in the Northeast region and whose living conditions, especially for women and girls, are eroded. The 2022 Humanitarian Response Plan, which was jointly developed with the humanitarian community and donors, will address the critical needs of vulnerable people, such as access to food, water, and healthcare services. It will also address the protection needs of women and girls. While appreciating the international community, United Nations, and humanitarian donors for their unwavering support to the cause of restoring livelihoods in the northeast of Nigeria, the minister appealed for more support and assistance to tackle the crisis efficiently through the implementation of the Humanitarian Response Plan.
You are still watching Service to Humanity, a program which brings you activities of the Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and her agencies. The Conditional Cash Transfer initiative under the National Social Investment Program is one that has reached every corner of the country. Women from their stipends of 5,000 naira monthly have been taught how to pool their resources together, invest in small businesses and take care of themselves. Their stories of how much can be done when there is a will and a way are quite inspiring. We will start from Ogun, the gateway state where our crew visited in 2021. Keep watching.
There are currently over 9,000 CCT beneficiaries in Ogun State, spread across the 3 senatorial districts of the state. Many of the women who benefited are petty traders, buying and selling. Every woman has a story of how they used the money they received under the Conditional Cash Transfer initiative to improve their business and economic well-being.
The money was very fruitful. I invested half of the money on my business and used the remaining to take care of my children's needs. They eat at the right time, and I also used the money to send them to school.
As
soon as they called us, we were given the money. When I received mine, I added it to my capital, and I have made a lot of profit. As soon as I made more profit, I used part of it to settle my children's school fees. I have enjoyed the benefits and profits realized from receiving this money because my children are in school comfortably without any trouble.
The impact of the initiative is being felt by their families, and they remain grateful to government for the intervention.
We are
grateful to the government for everything. I pray that God should bless their efforts and make all their intended projects successful. I plead with them not to forget us, so that our businesses will not suffer setbacks.
I am grateful to Almighty God for the government interventions. The reason is because I received the money and added it to my business. It yielded profits, even though some people see 10,000 naira as a little amount. But to us, it's a huge amount of money. Once again, I am grateful to the government for remembering us. I plead with them not to forget us because there was so much hunger before we received the money. But now our lives have improved a lot.
As the government provides us with this money, I pray that God should continue to help them too. I am pleading with them to remember us always, since they don't want us to suffer from hunger. That's why they are giving us this money. Once again, I pray for their upliftment.
All my life, I have never seen this kind of program. This program is very good. My concern is if they can continue with it. I will be very happy. I am very grateful for such a wonderful program.
Across the 6 geopolitical zones.
Use this money for what it is meant for, graciously to take care of their family.
In 36 states and the FCT. Over 6.4 million of Nigerians poorest of the poor in about 1.3 million households receive conditional cash transfers of 5,000 naira monthly under the Household Upliftment Program of the federal government. Their joy knows no bound.
And the government very well because they did work for us.
It helped me to do any other thing, my family.
Reducing absolute poverty, promoting shared prosperity through the Conditional Cash Transfer Initiative. The Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development in service to humanity.
You are watching Service to Humanity, and in this episode, we are reviewing some of our visits to monitor the impact of the CCT. Kaduna also has a good testimony of the implementation of the Conditional Cash Transfer Initiative. When our crew went out last year, we got to 3 women cooperatives where their members have been uplifted economically. They are into personal businesses and growth ventures. Stay tuned for their details.
Women in Ikara and Chuku local government area of Kaduna State are model beneficiaries. Individually and as a group, they have ventured into businesses to improve their lives and the well-being of their families.
Alhamdulillah, tunda gwamnatin Buhari ta shigo,
Before this intervention, life wasn't easy. We were not doing business, not selling anything. In fact, we could hardly fend for ourselves, but now we thank God since Buhari's administration. We can't thank them enough because we have ventured into business. Amongst us, we have those that sell charcoal, firewood, palm oil, pomade, cosmetics, and some own grinding machines.
We were doing nothing before this intervention came. I have children to cater for and my husband is dead. When I received the money, I bought a grinding machine. Since then, I have been feeding my children and paying their school fees, as well as attending to other necessities.
Their stories before and after the CCT intervention are quite inspiring.
Before now, my children don't go to school because there was no money. But with this intervention program, I can now pay their school fees while I also do business. Whenever I receive the money, I use it for different purposes such as buying foodstuff, sewing materials, as well as payment of school fees.
Sincerely, before we started receiving the money, we were in a critical condition. Ever since we collected the money, we thank God and now I can take care of my needs and pay my children's school fees, including money for food and transportation. With that alone, I remain grateful.
Since I started receiving cash transfer, I have been saving the money and using it to cater for other needs. I bought a grinding machine with the money I saved, and since then, I have been taking care of myself and my family.
Definitely, we received the money and we were excited because before the intervention, we were in a tight situation. Sometimes, we cannot afford to buy ordinary detergent. There was no means to support other family members. But since I started receiving the money, our lifestyle has changed because I can now pay my children's school fees and assist other family members, as well as people whose standard of living is below mine.
Before we started receiving this money, our lives was full of struggles to survive because sometimes we are okay and other times we are not. But now, with this intervention, we thank God because it has really impacted on my life. I now have capital for selling firewood and do other businesses. Now I have been providing for my children and assisting my husband too.
One thing that has helped these women gain so much from the little they receive is the formation of cooperative societies. Nagarta Cooperative Society is into local rice processing. Kadaram Mutinchi Cooperative in Chukun, the women are into contribution to improve their businesses. For Yaka Malam Ikara and Kaswa Cooperative in Ikara, they are into buying and selling. The women remain very grateful to the government for the Conditional Cash Transfer initiative.
CCT beneficiaries in Kuje, Abuja, and in Nasarawa State had some good stories to tell. And it is with their stories that we will round up our testimonials on the impact of the CCT on the lives of beneficiaries. Keep watching.
Quite a number of women cooperatives have been formed as a result of the coming together of beneficiaries of the CCT, also known as Better.com.
Up, up, up! Better.com! Better.com!
And from the pooling of their resources together, many women have been able to either start up businesses or expand existing ones.
Before now, some of them, due to one problem or the other, their children were not able to go to school. It was when the money started coming, some of them were able to put their children in school. Though it's not that their husbands are not working, they are working, but the salary has not been paid. So many of them are site workers, while some, they are security workers. So you find out that what is coming out at the end of the month is not taking up anything. So when this money started coming, and we entered into contribution. So with the little trade that some of them are doing, they started helping the family by putting their children in school, by helping the children in one a vocational training or the other. So it has been helping everyone, and some of them were able to put up one business or the other.
I can't even express the way the money helped me. This is our third year that we started collecting the money, and he really helped me and my family too. And he helped me in different ways that I cannot even say it.
As I'm speaking to you now, I was not working before and I had no business. But when I started receiving this money, I set up a business and it was helpful. Even my children's education is now stable because whenever we get paid, I usually pay for contributions and buy egusi and resell. This year, my son was able to write his WAEC examination. From the profit I realized, I am very grateful for the money.
Proceeds from their trade has not only benefited them, but also their families, nuclear and extended.
In fact, this money helped me a lot. I thank God for government when help us like this. So I have engine when I'm using it before, but now as the engine they give me wahala. When I get this one, I thank God. I use the money, buy another engine. They enjoying it. So every day she give me a little change so that I can use it with my children. I thank God for the government.
The money before I've not been doing anything. So when I started collecting the money, I saved it for a while. And now open this shop from it. That's what I've benefited. And since then, as I'm collecting more, I'm still adding it on it. It helped me a lot.
So, would you say that this has helped you and your family in one way or the other?
Yes, of course. They have helping us. They have helping us a lot. See, I have 2 children. From that money, as I open this shop, it's helping me. I'm buying things. Anything I want, I can buy it. Anything I want to do, I can use the money to it.
Before I'm farm. Now, I started to collect money, 10,000. First, if I collect, I'll buy food to feed my children. The remaining one, I'll go and buy and sell. This can't buy and sell, they help me.
Their gratitude to government for giving them a new lease of life knows no bounds.
God will bless government for us, and please they should continue this thing for us. They should not stop it. God will continue to bless their family and their ministry in Jesus' name. Thank you very much.
Lifting 100 million people out of poverty is not a random promise by this administration. What it has done to ensure that its plans are strategically implemented is to create a ministry dedicated to addressing issues of poverty while coordinating a humanitarian response to them. And we can say that the ministry has truly lived up to its mandate. Join me again same time next week for another package of Service to Humanity as we keep track of the activities of the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development. Until then, have a splendid week ahead.